Van sales are booming, and I'm not just talking about the Kia Carens and the Ertiga and stuff like that. I'm talking about big luxury vans like the Vellfire. The Vellfire sold over 1,000 units last year, and that car cost rupees 1.2 crores. How much did Toyota make? You do the maths. But in that context, MG is bringing us this. This is the MG M9 EV. It's a massive luxury van. Huge thing, lots of luxury on the inside, and the attempt here is to dethrone the Vellfire. Now this is obviously a full EV, and let's get into things and check out what it's all about. Now after the introduction in most reviews, I usually do a walk around of the car and tell you what the exteriors look like, then go to the front seat and do all of that jazz. But I think we're going to start this review here because the back seat is the most important place in the MG M9. This is a proper luxury car. It's meant to be chauffeur driven, and you can walk in here. There's so much ingress and egress space, and then shut the door electrically, and you've got these thrones to sit in. They're really comfortable. Now let me just walk you through all of the stuff in the rear seat. There's a lot to take in, and I hope I don't miss anything, so just bear with me. Number one, really comfortable seats. These are captain chairs, and that's the only option you get on the M9. You cannot spec a bench in the middle row. These chairs, they're fully electrically adjustable and controllable. So you've got a screen in the armrest over here. You swipe to unlock just like you would do on your phone. And then all of the controls in here, you can adjust the seat and how it moves. So basically your electrical adjust for the seat. You've got heating, ventilation, and massage, all controlled from the seat. Then you've also got your AC controls in the screen. You've got your vehicle controls, which include what your windows are, so you can roll down your windows, the sunroof, all of that. You can control the ambient light from in here, and you can also control basically the reading lights from in here. So there's a lot you can do from this single screen over here. You've also got AC controls in the roof. So obviously if you don't want to reach into the screen, you can reach out and access this over here. The MG M9 does get 3-zone climate control. So 1 zone for the entire rear section and 2 zones up front. One thing I did notice, there's no recirc button in the screen or up there. So you cannot change the recirculation setting, but everything else you can do. Now, cup holder in here. So this is a cup holder, but it's a very odd cup holder. I found that this little retractable thing makes it difficult to place a cup. And let me give you an example. If I've got a bottle of water with me and I want to put it in, it doesn't go in, you know. I've got to use my other hand, open this and put it in, and that's going to be annoying if you're trying to sip coffee or something and you're going to constantly be removing the cup from there, because you're going to always need your second hand to put it in there. Other stuff to note, this opens and you can actually put a little bit of a tissue box in here, so that's nice. It's very well concealed and you don't have to have a tissue box lying around on the dashboard or on the back seat, which is nice. You've got a little bit of a cubby hole here, and you've got USB Type A and Type C ports at the back. Another neat touch is this little slot over here for your phone. Nice little cubby hole, fits a flagship phone very easily over there. You've also got a lot of hard buttons. So you've got this hard button here. So in case you've got your seat fully reclined and you just want to bring it back to your original position without getting into the screen and using touch menus, this single button resets the seat to its default state, which is nice. Now, sunroof. There's actually 2 sunroofs in this car. There's one up there, there's one up there. This one opens, that one also opens. So you can actually get a lot of fresh air into the car. The DLO, the size of the windows is massive. This is a huge window. It's genuinely very big, and you've got this massive sunblind to cover it in the summer or in the daytime, whatever you feel like. You've got ottomans on these chairs. This flips out if you wanted to. You've got a socket over here, so you can actually plug a laptop charger in here and use it if you need to. And you've got electrical controls for the door. So the door opens with that one push, and then you can shut it with another push as well. AC vents, you've got AC vents in the roof over here, and then you've got them in the back for the 3rd row as well. I think that pretty much covers what this seat is all about. And before we go to the 3rd row, I'm just going to cut to a video of showing you how the seat reclines. This is the 3rd row. If you've got more than 4 passengers in the car, you can easily climb in here through the gap between the captain seats. The row itself is quite wide. I was very surprised. This is between the rear wheels, but it's still very wide, and you can fit 3 in here very comfortably abreast. Knee room, it's decent. So I've moved this chair a little bit in front and, well, reduced the knee room in the second row to make space for me in the third row. But with that, I actually have a little bit of free knee room. So I'm not really cooped up and cramped in here. Under thigh support is a little limited. The seat is a little low compared to the floor. This is also an EV, you must remember that. And because of that, you don't have as much under thigh support. But you do get reclinable seats, you do get adjustable headrests, which are nice, and you get a little cubby hole and USB ports in here, which is very cool. So third row, very usable, and your passengers in the back won't really complain. And then you climb into the front seat, and I don't know how much time you're actually going to spend in here. It's mostly for your chauffeur, to be honest. But if you want to go out on a long drive with your family in tow, you may spend time in the driver's seat, and this is what it's all about. So you've got a small tiny screen behind the steering wheel, and that's for your instrument cluster. It just about works and gives you all the information you need. You've got a much larger screen here for your infotainment screen, and it can connect to wireless, CarPlay, Android Auto, all of that. One thing I don't like, headlamp controls in the screen. Not a great idea, but that's what it is. But unlike the Windsor, they've actually given you physical controls for the mirrors, which I appreciate. You've also got drive modes. They're deep in the settings menu. You're not really going to fiddle around with drive modes on this M9 because it's not really a sporty car. There's no point putting it in sport mode unless you need that extra grunt. But your chauffeur is going to be doing most of the driving, and I don't think he's going to bother with that at all, so it's not much of a problem. Wireless phone charger over here, cup holders over here, power for the course. What I really like is the amount of storage in this car. It's insane. You've got this massive tray down here, and you've got this little partition which you can actually adjust. You've got this, which is another storage bin over here. That's not a wireless phone charger, even though it looks like one. You've got a massive cubby hole in here, and you've got massive cubby holes on the doors as well. So loads of storage all over the car. You can carry a lot of stuff in the MG M9. Another interesting thing to note, physical controls for the doors. So if you want to shut the door as the chauffeur, you can do that from up here. You don't have to bother your passengers. Really nice material selection. So you've got this leather trim all over. But what I really like is the suede. So it's on the doors, it's also on the seat backs, and it's all over, even in the rear seats. And it feels really nice, rich and expensive. You've also got soft touch all over the dash. One thing that I did notice are these speakers. They look very inspired by the Mercedes-Benz Burmester speakers, but you know, even if they are inspired, they do look very cool in the car. You've also got this mirror. Well, it's not really a mirror, it's a camera feed for your IRVM, and that's because this is a very long car. They've chosen this as a solution, and it's pretty useful. You can use it very well and it gives you a clear view out of the back. The only thing is, unlike in the Range Rovers, you cannot switch to a mirror feed again. So you can't just flick a switch and go back to a mirror. This is a camera feed through and through. Overall, the MG M9 from the front seat does feel very nice. Any drawbacks? One, there's no USB Type-C ports in the front. You've only got Type-A ports. Now before we get to the driving, let's talk about styling. And the MG M9, in my opinion, doesn't look too bad. It's actually quite understated and very minimalist for an MG. You've got this really strong imposing bonnet with these cuts and creases on it. Lower down, you've got these DRL elements and this really strong jaw. Obviously split headlamps, and you've got a chrome strip down below. Now compared to something like a Vellfire, this is actually subtle, but it still looks very commanding on the road and it has tremendous presence. We were turning heads all day today. From the side, massive car, 5.2 meters long. It's a very, very long car. You've got 19-inch wheels over there, and well, your doors, they're sliding doors, so it's a one-touch control to get them to slide all the way back, and then it's one touch again to get them to shut. Now chrome, you've got a little bit of chrome on the side, but I like it. It's not overdone, it's not excessive. And unlike MG, they haven't slapped 10,000 badges on the car. I'm surprised there's no massaging seats inside over here on the flanks. It's usually what they do, but they haven't done it here, and I really like that. Now from the rear, again, not a bad looking angle for the car. You've got this light bar that runs along the width of the car. Looks very imposing and very cool at night. There's only one badge, MG M9 EV on the rear, and it does look very cool. I mean, it is a van, so it's going to look like a box on the road. But as far as boxes go, the MG M9 really looks good. And since we're here, let's talk about boot space. You can actually fit a couple of bags in the boot, even with all 3 rows up. But you can, of course, fold the last row down and make more space for more bags in the back if you really need to haul some luggage. Okay, now let's role play. I'm going to be a chauffeur and I'm driving the MG M9 EV. What is it like? Well, to start with, it is an EV, so you get those typical EV traits of smoothness, of complete silence, of just the quietness that comes with an EV, and that's perfect for a luxury car. It really fits well with the M9's disposition. What you also get is real performance. This has 241 bhp, which is a fair bit, and when you step on the throttle, you actually get a fair bit of acceleration.
The MG M9 also features a 90 kWh battery, and this comes hooked up to a single motor on the front axle. In terms of range, the MG M9 has a WLTP range of 430 kilometers, but you can expect a real-world range of around 350 kilometers.
You know, responses are quick. The typical EV instant torque that you get, you do feel that in the MG M9 EV. Okay, it's no sports car, but you do get the sense that this is, well, just responsive and light on its feet in terms of acceleration. Now, you do get regen modes, and by default it is in the high mode, but I prefer the low or the standard a little bit better. I feel like it's more suited to the smoothness that you need from a luxury car like this. You can be smooth in the high driving mode, but you just need to learn how to be smooth. You need to be really easy with the throttle, really sensitive to where the throttle pedal is, and then when you're getting off, if you gently release it, the smoothness gets dialed into the driving experience. So it is possible to be smooth, but I think low or standard would have been a better default experience, because every time you turn the car off, it reverts to its default. So that's something you need to bear in mind if you're driving the MG M9. You also get drive modes. Now, I don't really know who's going to really need drive modes on the MG M9. What it can help with is you've got eco mode, so if you're tight on range, I'm sure eco mode can just help stretch the range a little bit. You've also got sport mode. Now your acceleration is pretty good in normal mode, so I don't really know what you really need sport mode for. What it does is just dial things up a little bit. You get a little more urgent acceleration. You also feel the wheels squirm a little bit, but it'll just make things uncomfortable for the people in the back. So if you're a chauffeur, remember, normal mode is the way to go. You can also adjust the weight of the steering and the brake pedal. So those are, again, adjustable settings that you have built into the M9, but I don't think they really matter so much to the overall driving experience of the M9. What does really matter in a van, a luxury van like this, is ride quality. Now, when the roads are good, the ride quality is pretty decent. You know, it feels stable, it feels planted, and you have a sense of confidence from behind the wheel. But Indian roads are far from good, and when the roads are not so good, you do feel a little bit of what's going on underneath the road in the cabin. So at low speed, there's a slight firmness to it, but I don't actually have too much of a problem with that. I feel like it does have enough of a cushion to keep you comfortable on the inside at low speeds. You can feel it. But my real concern is when the speeds pick up. You know, you do have a sense of what's going on in the road underneath you. The suspension, it sort of doesn't iron out everything. There is a little bit of a lumpiness in the cabin. You can feel it move with the road underneath you, and I don't think that's ideal in a luxury car. I mean, it's not going to be super cushy and soft. Some vans do have this issue because you remember, these are tall cars, these are heavy cars. But yeah, in the M9 you can feel a lot of what's going on underneath you. But again, when the roads smoothen out again, you're sorted. You know, it's no issue. And I think at lower speeds, at city speeds, this is going to be less of a problem. What about handling? Do we really need to talk about handling of a van? Honestly, I've not even tried sending it around a corner because that's not what this is made for. You know, this is made for relaxing in, for traveling in absolute luxury. Maybe after a long day of work, you just want to unwind in the back seat. Maybe you want to go out on a long road trip and just have a first-class experience all the way. You know, that's what the MG M9 is all about. And I don't think you're going to get any real valuable information by talking about handling, so I'm not even going to bother. What I am going to bother with is telling you what it's like on the go from the rear seat. So let's step in there and check that out. Now, the back seat of the MG M9, have to say, lovely way to travel. This is just so comfortable. You've got so much space. The seats are really nice, really plush. You've got a great view out of the front as well. If you had to get a luxury car, honestly, I think a van makes so much more sense than an SUV nowadays, because just look at the space, look at the luxury that you get. The only thing you don't get are the driving dynamics of an SUV, and you don't get the style and the looks and the proportions of an SUV. But I think those two are worth sacrificing if your priority is to be chauffeur driven, because seats like these, space like this, is just impossible to come by in an SUV nowadays. Even if you go to the absolute upper end of the SUV segment, you don't get comfort and space like this. The only drawback I feel of the MG M9, even from the back, is the same thing that I spoke to you from the front, which is the ride quality. You do feel a lot of it through the seat, and some of that vertical movement. I feel like the rear moves a little bit more than the front, and that ride quality does sort of invade into the luxurious experience of the M9 a little bit. But apart from that, man, I can't complain over here. You know, I just need to get in the screen, put on the sleep comfort setting, recline all the way back, and just enjoy the drive. You know, being driven around doesn't get better than this, honestly. Now, the van space in India is very fragmented. You've got the Kia Carnival at one end, you've got the Toyota Vellfire at the other end, you've got the Lexus LM, which sits in the stratosphere, and the MG M9, I think, is going to slot in between the Carnival and the Vellfire, and it's going to find white space of its own to live in over there. The Carnival around 60 lakhs. I think this is going to come in around 80 lakh rupees. And at that price point, it's not really going to have any competition, but its main draw will be trying to attract customers looking for a great deal when they're out to buy a Vellfire, and trying to upgrade people from a Carnival to something that's a little more luxe, a little more spacious, and also a lot more electric. So this does have its own USPs, and I think it's going to find a lot of buyers. Considering how people are lapping up the Vellfire, if they can price this well, I think they're going to have a lot of takers for the MG M9.